Top right, former Prime player, Zerg player, winning in the late game against a Battlecruiser Air Terran composition, Sky Terran as they call it. It is BBoongBBoong. Very simple jersey, but I like it. Bottom left here is the Command Center firsting Terran for the team NS Hosa. It is jjakji. So a little bit low in the chair. And as far as I can tell, jjakji knows supporters today. Obviously he knows Song quite well. And look at that. BBoongBBoong is going for a 10 pool. Drops it down. We've seen this already. See how effective this can be on this particular map. Another 2-player map. And if jjakji goes CC first on the low ground, might have some trouble. Remember last time he got that depot raised in time. So the Lings weren't able to get in the main. If the Lings go on the main, the game ends in that case. But now he's going for barracks first. This is the best possible scenario for jjakji. He's likely not going to lose anything at all here. And BBoongBBoong's going to feel a little bit silly. Oh, it's even a 2 barracks wall off here. Excellent. So, really exciting opening that we're going to have here right now, because consider that BBoongBBoong now has to figure out what to do next. If he loses his Lings, which he probably won't because his Overlord's going to spot this 2 racks. If he loses his Lings, or even a few of them, this 2 racks opening that's going to be a slight pressure opening into an expand from jjakji becomes a dangerous opening that could kill BBoongBBoong, because he doesn't have a lot of production, he doesn't have that hatchery started yet, and he's making 2 more Lings right now, even after seeing the barracks. Right now at 18 out of 18, does he save and get the hatch, or does he get an Overlord? He starts the Overlord. I think the smart choice. It's like he, wants to hide these Lings, and he wants to go around the backside, which I like, because in this way he's going to totally circumvent jjakji's force. But then jjakji's force is also going to circumvent him, and all it takes is just 1 depot to be made here, and we'll have the wall. He sends his rally back, and this is now a really awkward position for BBoongBBoong. Starts 3 more drones, and we'll begin the hatchery. Send that drone down now. And he's trying to camp this barracks. Well, both of them, but more specifically the one on the outside, because that's the one where it's really hard for him to pop those Marines out there. But he's not able to get anything done here. Now jjakji can make his command center, but also because of the lack of production of BBoongBBoong, he could just walk across the map and do some damage. He sees this too. And that's the last thing the SCV is going to see, unfortunately for him. But what are you going to do, jjakji? Do you just make the CC and sit back? Or do you kill this Overlord, then start walking across the map, because you know your opponent's production is so limited? You make that 3rd barracks, you have that full wall, you leave 1 or 2 Marines, you walk across the map, carefully, slowly to the watchtower at the very least, force BBoongBBoong to make more units. Look at that nice mule pull there. And the answer is, yeah, he's going to walk across the map. He's got the wall off with the 3rd barracks now. Really punishing BBoongBBoong for what he's done. And this is so deadly. He doesn't even know it, I feel. Did he see that? He must have seen it with the watchtower, but regardless, he's not making Lings. He made 4 more drones. He's going to lose his queen at the natural, I think, if he doesn't pull it out. And pulls it out immediately. Now, the Marines should be able to kill the hatch. 10 more Lings coming out, but they're going to be late. And once the Lings come out, he can just go behind. I forgot about the queen patch, though. He does get chased away there. It's not only about the queens, but the queens can buy the time. That was a bad call by me, in fact. With the queens there, he certainly easily would have been able to hold. Back at home, jjakji trademark starts his 3rd command center. A little bit of lifting action there on the barracks to let that Marine inside safely. And jjakji is going to be able to stealthily get these Marines back home. Be very careful about that. You do not want to get caught out in the middle of the map on your way home. Metabolic boost is on the way for BBoongBBoong at this time. Wants to be able to get that out so that his Lings will be able to control the map and deal with any possible Hellion pressure, as at this moment he doesn't know if the factory is going up or if there's a third command center hidden in the main. There's his own third. Well, that drone will become a third one day. I can see it. Sometimes I can see the future. And this is one of those times. As the drone now became a hatchery. Double factory from jjakji. Very interesting. He may go into mech from here, or he may just go into double Hellion production to hit a timing attack with Blue Flame and a bunch of Marines. You want Banelings against that. This next wave from jjakji is just as scary as the first, especially with speed not done, it just finished now. If he targets the hatch, he can force a cancel, but he will lose Marines to do so. Really nice micro by jjakji here, and he targets, forces the cancel, and now pulls back. Gonna lose a lot of Marines though, as I said. And this is a better trade for BBoongBBoong by far, but losing the hatchery was a bit of a concern. Restarts it instantly. If you lose the hatch and you don't lose the drone and you trade for the Marines, you're gonna feel okay. Much unlike Tasteless last night. Lings do come up and hit the barracks. They have to pull back though. There's just enough Marines to shake them off. And it is going to be that Blue Flame timing attack, it looks like. Blue Flame comes out with a reactor on the second barracks. He gets the armory, interestingly enough. Double armory, so he is actually going to go into mech. He's going to play the later game here. Did not expect this. It was always a possibility from the beginning. jjakji really likes these late game compositions though, it seems like, with how he chose to make the battlecruisers last game, for example. Really showing his cards. And how will BBoongBBoong prepare? He's now getting his 1-1 upgrades. But they're pretty late. In fact, the armory upgrades are going to be right on top of them. And if he doesn't hit his upgrades perfectly, and jjakji does, then jjakji will actually pull ahead in upgrades. With armory upgrades, that is, versus ground army upgrades. And this is +1 for Lings we're talking about, not the roaches that he's going to want to have later. Marine production has stopped, but he's hiding the Hellions. It's a little bit supply blocked here, though. Misses a production cycle on those Hellions. That sort of stuff can really add up. A lot of pressure on these players to stick it in, though. And this group of Marines will trade really cost-efficiently against the Lings. In fact, I don't even think he can kill those Marines. Definitely not with the Hellions coming in now. The Marines do stay alive, and now BBoongBBoong is freaking out a little bit. He starts 2 spines. This is only 4 Hellions, but with Blue Flame, that can be devastating. Ah, the Queens chase him away again. This is the second time those 2 Queens have thwarted his pressure. He should actually just run by. I don't really understand the idea of fighting against these Queens like this. He could have killed so many drones in this time. He wants to kill all the Queens, I suppose, with his Marine support now. But he could have killed so many drones. He still could be killing drones. He doesn't want to trade for the Hellions, I suppose, because he wants to make them part of his composition. Now he's doing it. This is something he could have done. He could have gotten a lot more earlier. Now the spines are up, and now he can't really fight over there anymore. I felt like that could have been a lot better executed. And I think that's even an understatement. Better not go out by that spine. That was close. Hellion's now going to come into the natural, but it's already been prepared for. A really nice wall. It's not tight, but it's close enough that he can block it with the Queen if he needs to. Now the scary part here for jjakji, look at that creep. It's starting to get a little bit creepy, even. I'd be scared. I would tell, you know, if I had a son, I would tell him scary stories about this. Because the situation that jjakji's in right now is where he is going to have to defend his third base while investors are coming out. But I feel like with the way this game has gone, just even if you look at the upgrades, jjakji is just ahead in every way. You know, this is the moment normally where, as a Zerg player, you start to attack the third base, you get your Roach Warren out, but he's getting his Roach Warren really late. He's got a Hive. He's going to try to play Antigua style here with 3-base Broodlords against mech. I don't know if that's going to allow him the flexibility he needs to be able to deal with this mech composition that's not only heavily upgraded and tough, but also highly mobile with the Hellions. He's got that third base up for so long now. And this is a great trade for those Lings. I'm scared for BBoongBBoong, in fact. This story just got turned upside down, and it's hard to read a book upside down. If you haven't tried it, just take your cell phone, turn on auto-rotate off on your settings, and then turn it upside down and try to read it. It's pretty tough. Or if you have a book nearby, that would also work. Definitely try it, if you haven't yet. It's pretty difficult. Some people have a talent for it. 2-2 is just a hair behind, as it was to begin with 1-1. So BBoongBBoong not missing a beat with his upgrades, which is so important in this scenario where you're facing mech. Thor's first to be safe came out for jjakji. Now he starts siege tank production with triple siege tanks at the time. Siege mode just finished here. And that hatchery at the top left is as good as dead if jjakji wants to move out on it. This is why he's got these barracks moving around. He spots the lings, he sends his Hellions back right away to the third base, and will easily clean them up. That's a great usage of his initial 3 barracks. I see Marine King do this. A lot of players like to jet 3 barracks into mech and then use those triple barracks not as a wall, but actually as vision later on. Use a command center instead, as jjakji's doing now, to finish that wall at the natural. Does not want to get fungled here, but he's got no choice. Nobody wants to get fungled. Giving him nightmares again, but the siege tank count is starting to get pretty high. He's going up to 9 now. And when you've got this many siege tanks with Hellion support, and you move on that 4th base, jjakji is going to be maxed with 2-2 mech upgrades. And 3-3 has not been started for BBoongBBoong yet. He can walk around the left side of the map, leave some defenses, defending against run-bys at his 3rd, and take a siege up position at the 4th of BBoongBBoong and start to move out over there. That's exactly what he's doing right now. He is, however, going to need some defense at his 3rd. This is one thing we've seen Life do in the past, just with Infestor run-bys. He also wants to hit this timing before Broodlords are out, without any Vikings with this composition. He's not going to have an easy time here, and he sees the Broodlords right now. In fact, he's right underneath them. The Lings actually don't counterattack the 3rd. They come in to help defend. That Queen barely gets away. Unlike anyone that the Mystery Machine Gang ran into in the Scooby-Doo series. 3 additional Corruptors coming out right now, so he can make some more broods, and he wants to get that +1, not for roaches, but for his infested Terrans. They can do the extra damage to that mech army. And why make roaches when you can spend energy on a unit that has more utility in the late game? That's the question that Blizzard is asking themselves right now, as Lings actually do try to run in here. Big shoutouts to Blizzard and everyone who's at the BWC right now in Shanghai, getting set up for that awesome event. I can't wait to get down there, but I have to. So it's kind of a paradox there. Can't wait, but I have to, and I will, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna get on that plane tomorrow morning. That's what I'm gonna do. Good creep cleanup here from jjakji. I like this action everywhere on the map. BBoongBBoong forced to be a little bit on the defensive with those Broodlords. There's nothing more terrifying than a Broodlord flying across the map. That Thor will get taken out, but at a high cost. Look at the supply. Now 176 to 150. It was not like that before. Kill 1 Thor, it takes that much when you have this many upgrades on your mech army. That's just the reality of things. And uh-oh, these Hellions sneak by, but he decides not to use them. 1 Hellion against 6 Queens is not a fight I would take, but that Hellion had other plans. In fact, you guys aren't even going to watch it die. The rest of his Hellion buddies tried to save him. Almost full energy on every single Queen, so you can transfuse. Too late. Transfuse the other Queen instead. The Viking production has started. He's also got the Fusion Core coming out now. The Broodlord is like a deadly stingray. And not from Australia, but from Char. And look at it, just look at it. It's so scary. If you look at its tail, you probably never noticed this before, but it's got like, barbs on it. Those Broodlings went a long way away from home and they came back. A ton of Vikings out now for jjakji. With these additional 4 that he's coming out with, he will have 20. And in fact, he started 2 more, so he's going up to 22. Wants to fight here, needs to split, and the splitting is good. There's a lot of Queens here, though. He needs to, I mean, he split some, but he needs to actually have them fire. And you know what? I think that there's too much. He let the Vikings sit idle for too long, and now the Lings come in here with the Broodlings. He's going to clean up the ground army. And yeah, maybe he gets the Broodlords, but there's a lot of Infestors here now. He's going to get 1 more at the very least. He went for Infestors rather than Fungal there. Now several of these Vikings will escape and chase down the rest of the Broodlords. It's hard to argue who got the better trade there, in fact, though. One more brood. Will we get the last one? Yes. And in fact, the Viking is still being annoying here. Base of the top left. If you look on the minimap, it looks like there's a command center there, but in reality, it's blocked by a hatchery that's underneath that just finished. Air upgrade advantage goes to BBoongBBoong for a brief period of time. Limited time only, as he is getting +2 carapace, and he will have that done before +1 plating or ship weapons is done for jjakji. So it's going to be at 02 versus 00 for about half of the time it takes to make an air upgrade. A few roaches still scattered across the map now with their new +1. Feel a bit braver. This hatchery's not wrong for this world though. He actually will kill Italians. There's no way to get drones over there or even reinforcing units. A few more Vikings than you would want to fight roaches with, though. And this is where a transition to roaches becomes very scary. Ask any meching Terran what the hardest choice is with mech, and it's what to make and when. Your opponent makes roaches, you have too many Thors because you're trying to help deal with Mutalisks, which you may have faced in the early game, or Broodlords with your Vikings, and you die if there are too many roaches on the map. If you make too many siege tanks when there aren't that many roaches on the map, he makes more of an error-oriented composition, or he's got the heavy Ling brood, then you make too many siege tanks, you lose. It's hard to make the right ratio, make the right choices. That's why scouting information that these barracks, for example, grant, like this command center to the top left grants, although it wants to mine, it's getting some information. That's where the strength of scouting comes in here for Terran. This is an awkward push out here by jjakji, you know? He's stifled into this little choke point. It's like he's trying to put a ship into a bottle. And we all know how complicated that is. He will actually take this hatchery out, but will he be able to retreat? The cutoff here from BBoongBBoong is, well, to be quite frank, there is none. Now he's starting to approach. He could stop the retreat if he wanted to. Doesn't look like that's in the plans for him right now. The Queen's doing a lot of extra DPS here, and they're about to have +2 as well. Getting those Vikings, and BBoongBBoong pushes through here with some good fungals. He's got to make sure he keeps those infestors alive, because right now he's not doing a very good job of that. A lot of infestors go down, and that is your lifeline as a Zerg player. Just ask anybody, Zerg or Terran or even Protoss. You don't have infestors in the late game, your army is not worth anything. Nice kiting here by jjakji on his Vikings, but look at how quickly BBoongBBoong is able to remax with his bank that he's built. He's taking a 40 supply lead here, and the infestors do remain alive. Taking out some more of the Vikings. He needs to pull the infestors out. The Queens are becoming a big problem. He has no way of dealing with those. Once the ground army is gone, he can kill Broodlords for a little bit, even if there's no infestor energy left, but the Queens can kill Vikings. He actually should just leave these Queens to fight while he pulls the rest of his army back. There you go. Sometimes it takes players a minute to realize what the best choice to make micro-wise is. It's always a tough choice to make. But jjakji consistently behind in supply here right now, despite all the mules he's able to drop, and with his 3 mining base economy, he can now take 2 additional bases. He can take the one to the top left. Now he's cleared up that creep. And the one at the bottom right, but he will have to kill a bird Zerg in order to do so. Not the best trade there for the tank and the Hellion. Now he can land this just before the creep got in there. Uh-oh, nothing to protect against these Hellions. jjakji's going to have a field day. There's the burrow, though. He wants to actually target these roaches in such a way that he can kill the drones. Looks like he's out of scans right now. Gonna lose those Hellions is not too bad. Took out a few workers. And in fact, the worker count is pretty scarily even. 65 to, well, until those drones finished, it was 67, but now it's 78. Hatchery is canceled here again. Command center has not landed, though. And finally, the scouting barracks falls. That was a thorn in BBoongBBoong's side for way too long. And the command center down here is made into a planetary. Oh my god. Let me count this for you. That's 8 mules. Planetary Fortress gets 15 kills on the Lings as well. Pretty nice trade for jjakji right now. The Bank of BBoongBBoong has basically disappeared. This base was a nice idea to the top left, but it's not based in reality. It was more of an idea that jjakji had once. Wouldn't it be nice if I had a command center to the top left? The tanks on the ground look scary, But the air army is what's more important here. A nice concave for jjakji's Vikings, but with the transfuses and the extra DPS of the Queens and the +2 infested Terrans, BBoongBBoong crushes it. And once the air army wins, the ground army is useless. It dies. Even if it doesn't die, BBoongBBoong doesn't care because the siege tanks are not useful anymore. 18 more Lings coming out. And BBoongBBoong is at the place now where he can start to push in at these command centers and start to do some real damage. A great funnel again. See this base down here at the bottom right, though? I would like to see some infestor harassment over there. Lifestyle. But we are going to see the last of these siege tanks fall. He's trading the ground army here when he doesn't need to be, though. That's one thing I will say. Could actually pull the infestors back and not even fight with Lings at all. Just fight only with Broodlords and Corruptors. Take the fungal and then run away. He's using Corruption on those Vikings. That's something we don't see enough of, and that's something that makes me really happy. Because that functions for everything. Your Queens, your Corruptors, your infested Terrans. If you hit Corruption on a ground unit by mistake, guess what? Your Broodlings and your Lings are going to do more damage. It's totally fine. Takes out another siege tank here with the said Broodlings. Even with +3 armor on those tanks, they do die. +3 is almost done for the infested Terrans, and that's when things get really nasty for jjakji. I mean, he's relying on these mule drops. It's like he's binging on it, but to be honest, it's not long before BBoongBBoong is just going to overtake him. He's got a hatchery at the bottom right. jjakji needs a miracle to actually stay in Code A right now. Look at how much extra DPS these Queens really do provide. It's kind of... it's mesmerizing even when you watch it. Just watch them at work here. Great cast on that fungal. Takes out 2 more Vikings. You can get this one as well. A lot of Corruptors have gone down, so he's remaking 4 of them right now. He's realizing, wait a minute, his Viking production seems to be a little bit more solid. But there becomes a point where if you lose the air control, then you just make a ton of Speedlings and kill everything on the ground and the Vikings aren't useful anymore. That's something that could happen. This is what I was talking about with this base. Luckily for jjakji, he mined almost all of it out before this happened to him, but he's going to lose 1. Losing a lot of SCVs over here as well if he doesn't pull those away. Notice this base is almost mined out. I mean, the mineral patches are fading away as we speak. Needs to save those SCVs if he can. A good fungal on the Vikings yet again. He's got so many Queens here. In total, his Queen count is 10 right now. Not hitting injects with the Queens that are out here, but he's got a lot more back at home. He can kite all he wants, but on creep, those Queens are going to add the extra DPS every time he turns around, and that's it. GG. BBoongBBoong takes the long 32-minute game. It was arduous, but he actually puts the NS Hosa player back down into Code B, takes the 2-1 lead. When we come back from a 5-minute break, we're going to have Supernova up against First.